Om Sanavavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhetamastu Mavidvishavahai Om Shanti 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 Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Pada Shankaram Loka Shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punaha. Today happens to be Friday, and we are doing Upadesha Sahasri. That is the Buddhi Aruda Prakaranam, 7th Prakaranam. And we have to do the 5th sloka, 5th and 6th sloka in this Aruda Prakaranam, Buddhi Aruda Prakaranam. And see, you don't have to see, every object is, I see it, I perceive it to be there. And therefore it looks to be there. It looks to be there, present. It looks as though it is there and I see it. It is not true. I see it and therefore it is there. I see it to be there. If you are free from perception and memory, then you have transcended the object. Then there is no, you are free, you exist free from the object. Like in Sushupti, there is no perception and there is no memory. Memory also is a thought. You are free from thought. When you are free from thought, you are free from the object also. Therefore, the only pramanam, the only proof of the object being there is only perception. I have told you one thing called perceptibility. Every object has the nature of being perceptible. And perceptibility minus perceptibility, it has no proof of existence. And therefore, I only see it to be, the snake is seen to be there. The tangibility is only a perception, please. If it is tangible, don't think that it is there. It is a perception also, you can perceive it to be, you can perceive, but even the dream objects look tangible, external to you, and they look useful, and they look outside me. They look at division. They see as though divided from me. They look as though divided from me. They look tangible. They look useful. They look drishyam. They all, and they look commerciable, etc., etc. But then the tangibility doesn't prove it's a reality or falsity. Tangibility is its quality. Externality is its quality. That's how it looks. The snakeness is its quality. That it is snake doesn't prove its that it looks tangible doesn't prove its reality or falsity. That it is tangible doesn't prove its reality or falsity, please, because it is only a perception that proves its falsity. It is only a perception. I only perceive it to be there. It is not. It is only a distortion of the truth. It is only a distortion. It is abhasa. It is a distortion of the truth. I only distort the rope as a snake, and therefore it is a perception. And its tangibility does not prove its reality. You may say it is so real, it is so tangible, it is so hard, etc. I say that is its attribute, its quality. A quality of a noun doesn't prove its reality or falsity. That it is only a perception proves its quality, its falsity. Therefore, the dream is a perception, and therefore it is false. And even Karikakara says Drishyatvat, everything that is seen it looks like a noun with a lot of qualities, and these qualities they look to be real. That the sense of reality itself doesn't prove its reality, please. I have the sense of reality in the dream. They all look real, but that doesn't mean they're all real. The reality has to be understood. They should be independent of my perception. But is the dream independent of perception? Is the dream independent of perception? No, it is not independent of perception. When I perceive it, it is there. When I don't perceive it, it's not there. When I am dreaming, I have to dream it like a thought. When it is not entertained, it is not there. When it is entertained, it is there, and like an action. When it is done, it is there. When it is not done, it is not there. And in the same manner, here also, the tangibility doesn't prove. Like the pot is there, that its neck is like narrow, and that is its quality, and the neck is its quality, open mouth is its quality, and a big belly is its quality, and a flat bottom is its quality, and the quality doesn't prove the reality or falsity of a noun. This is very important for you to know. And therefore, in this world, tangibility is a quality of the objects, and that tangibility doesn't prove its reality or falsity. That it is only, I only perceive it to be there, that only proves its falsity, please. It is not the akarata, prakashyate, is illumined, tape, in the sunlight. Just as various colors are illumined in the sunlight, in the money, in the same manner, this universe is illumined in oneself. Mai sandrishyate sarvam atapena iva tanmaya. Mai sandrishyate. In me it is perceived. In me it is perceived. Mai sandrishyate. In me it is perceived. In Brahman it is perceived. Sarvam, the whole thing. Atapena iva, like by the sunlight. Illumined like by the sunlight. Maya by me. Tanmaya. And that is by me. It is illumined by me like the sunlight. Just as the sunlight illumines everything, the objects, the colors, in the same manner, the colors in the diamond, in the same manner, I illumine the universe, uh, not like the sunlight, like the sunlight, like the sunlight illumines the colors. In the same manner, I illumine the universe within myself. It's not outside. If it is outside me, then there will be Dvaitam. But if it is not outside me, it is within me. It is non-separate from me. Like the waves are non-separate from water. They are being water. They are being water. That is called non-separateness, please. Non-separateness is not association. Its non-separateness should not be taken as association. I am explaining it very well, Ji. This is not non-separateness. This occupies one point of space. This occupies another point of space. The wave and water are the best example. Wave and water are the gold pot and clay and gold and ornament. These are the best examples for ananyatvam. Ananyatvam means the non-separateness. When there are non-separate, when the universe is non-separate from you, then you are the material for them. You illumine the objects. You illumine the objects. When you see the objects, you illumine the objects. That illumination also is only a prakriya, please. To know the objects is called to illumine. Conscious illumination is only knowing. When whatever is known to you, the dream is known to you. When you know the dream, that is called illumining the objects, illumining the dream. When you are aware of when you remember the deep sleep state, that is called illumining the deep sleep state. Experiencing the three states, experiencing being aware of the three states, knowing the three states, and having the knowledge of the three states means they're all synonymous sentences. They're all synonymous sentences, please. Being aware of, knowing, experiencing, having the knowledge of, all this means the same thing. This is a very important point. And illumining, they say, I can say the sun illumines the objects, but the sun also is known by me, and that the sun is illumined by me. Otherwise, the sun cannot be known by me. I have to illumine. I have to illumine. The consciousness has to know. The sun cannot know me. I can know the sun. And therefore, the sun, the physical light also is illumined by the conscious light. Conscious light is not illumined by the physical light, whereas the physical light is illumined by the conscious light. What is illumined and what is illumined, and the illumined physical light, both are illumined by the conscious light. And therefore, here it is said, just as the colors in a diamond are illumined by the sunlight, in the same manner, I illumine the whole universe that is there in me, like the sunlight. How the sunlight illumines the colors, in the same manner I illumine the universe also. I illumine the universe also. And in the next verse, Buddhau drishyam bhaved Buddhau satyam nasti viparye. This is very beautifully. Drashta yasmat sada drashta tasmat dvaitam na vidyate. Thought is something that is temporary. Buddhau satyam. I, when I see the snake, then alone the snake is there only when I see it there. See it to be there. Hello, you are not sleeping, you know. Okay. When the action is done, then alone you say the action is done. When the action is not done, it is not there. When the thought is entertained, it is there. When the thought is not entertained, it is not there. In the same manner, the snake, when it is seen, it is there. When the snake is not seen, it is not there. The snake is not a thing that is there. Even when I don't see it, it is there. That is what one thinks. Even when I don't see it, it is there. That is what one thinks. But actually, when you don't see it, it is not there. And therefore, Buddhau Satyam, Buddhi, when the thought is entertained, what is Buddhi? It is also a thought, see. You may say it is a faculty. Buddhi, Vritti Rupam Manaha, it is said. What is a mind? Mind is nothing but flow of thoughts. And therefore, but then we say behind it, we say there is a faculty called Buddhi. But that faculty is nothing but seeing, not only entertaining the thought, but concluding. This is real, this is false, in this manner concluding. That is what is called Buddhi. What concludes is a Buddhi. And Buddhi, when I conclude that the snake is real, then it is called Buddhi Rupam. When I don't conclude it to be real, then there is no Buddhi. And therefore, there is only rope. And therefore, when I conclude that there is a snake, there is a snake, whether I see it or not, there is a snake, then it is Buddhi Rupam. Buddhau Drishyam Bhaved. What is seen by the intellect is there. Buddhau Drishyam, not Buddhya Drishyam, Buddhau Drishyam. Buddhau means it is there in the intellect itself. The intellect is there, is a faculty in the jiva. And who is the jiva? Jiva is none other than Paramatma, distorted as the form. The formless is distortedly known. Distortion is different from change, please. The formless cannot change to become the form. The formless has not changed. The rope cannot change and become snake. There is no change, please, here. It is only a perception, and therefore it is adhyasa. And therefore, Buddha Drishyam, what is seen in the intellect, the thought that is there in the intellect, Bhaved, Buddha Satyam. It is only when the Buddhi is there. Buddhi is there, I can have a thought in the Buddhi. Nasti Viparya, not otherwise. Nasti Viparya, not otherwise. When the Buddhi is there, I see the thought. When the Buddhi is not there, I don't see the thought. When the Buddhi is there, when the faculty is there, I make conclusions. It's real and it is false, etc. And when there is no intellect, I don't conclude. In the same manner, the animals don't conclude it is real, it is false. They don't have any conclusion. Why? Because they think that it is everything is real. Everything is real. They don't have a conclusion nor a correction of conclusion. And therefore, Buddhau Drishyam Bhaved Buddhau Satyam Nasti Viparye. This Nishchayatmika Antakarana Vritti is not there with animals. And therefore, the animals cannot conclude, nor do they correct. If a bird thinks that it sees its own reflection, it thinks there is another bird, and therefore, like in Upadesha, like what is that? We have some stories in Panchatantra. In Panchatantra, in Panchatantra, there is a story that is a lion was taken to a well, and it sees its own reflection, and it thinks that there is another lion, and it jumps into the well, and it dies. And this is what is said by, but this intelligence was given by the author, please. That intelligence is put in the rabbits, but it is not that rabbits have an intelligence like that. Rabbits also they are also creatures, and therefore animals, and therefore they also don't have nishchayatmika antakana vritti. They can't think also, and therefore they only perceive. They're only pashus. They're only animals. Pashyatiti pashuhu only sees. They only see. They only perceive. They perceive. They can't conclude. They can't conclude. They can't correct conclusion. If they feel that they are the body, they can't correct the conclusion that I am not the body. I am the body. That correct the correction of that conclusion is not possible. Why? Because they can't do vichara. They can't discern between atma and anatma, and therefore बुद्धौ दृश्यम भवेद बुद्धौ satyam nasti viparye. When it comes to the human beings can think, and they can make conclusions also, please. I am deha. It is not an experience, it is a conclusion. It is a correctable conclusion. In the same manner, this is a snake, it is a real snake. It is a correctable conclusion. It is a correctable conclusion, it's not an experience, please. Please understand. If it is an experience, if you call it an experience, it is a distorted experience. It is not even an experience. It is a conclusion about the experience. The rope is within the experience, whereas it is not understood. The snake is a conclusion. It's a very important, please. What is a conclusion? That I am Deha is a conclusion. It is adhyasa, it is a conclusion. And therefore, and this kind of conclusion is nothing but thought. It is thought to be the body. It is concluded to be the body. It is adhyasta, it is adhyaropitam as the body. And therefore, sometimes these thoughts, sometimes they are there, sometimes they are not there, but the seer is always there. Drashta yasmat, because drashta, the seer, sada drashta. The seer is the one who knows, the one who knows all the three states. He always is always the knower. And don't try to objectify that knower, please. You are the knower. You have to say that I am the knower. There is no knower. There is no that knower. The knower of the three states is none other than myself. That you have to. Don't objectify the knower. Don't objectify the knower means don't objectify yourself, but you understand that you are the knower of the three. You are the experiencer of the three states. As the experiencer of the three states, you are Brahman, please, because they all fall. They are all non-separate. All the three states are non-separate from the experiencer. They are not outside yourself. Like the dream is not outside yourself. If you saw the dream within yourself, and when you wake up, it gets falsified, and that is different. But then, but when it is there, but you, after waking up, also you have to understand it was seen within you. It was not seen outside you. It was seen within you. You have to understand the dream. You have to understand the deep sleep state. Deep sleep state is nothing but your presence minus the objects. Your presence, the non-dual presence minus the objects is called when you close your eyes when you close your eyes to when you transcend the snake, it means it is your presence. It continues to be, you continue to be present. It is your presence minus the error, please. Minus the snake, don't say, minus the error. Similarly, in the deep sleep state, you are present minus the error of minus the distortion, minus every object is a distortion of the non-object, the formless you, the conscious being. And therefore, drashta yasmat sada drashta. The seer is always the seer. Tasmat, therefore, Dvaitam na vidyate, and therefore, Dvaitam is not there. The division is not there. There is no division, there is no division, there is no division between you, the seer and the seen. There is no gap between the seer and the seen, please. And that makes it Advaitam. Even when you are awake, there is Advaitam, because there is no gap between the seer and the seen. The seer and the seen. The space is also seen. Between the space, you say that there is a spatial distance. I said there is a spatial distance between the space and the seer of the space. There is no space, please. There is no distance. And therefore, Advaitam is the truth. Advaitam alone is there. The seen space also is within the sea, is non-separate from the seer. The seen object is also non-separate from the seer. And therefore, the seer is always the drashta, yasmat sada drashta is always the seer. And therefore, dvaitam na vidyate, tasmat dvaitam na vidyate. Therefore, there is no dvaitam. Dvaitam is non-existent. Dvaitam is mithya. Dvaitam is mithya. Mithya means it looks to be real. Dvaitam, the division looks to be real, but it's not real. And therefore, Dvaitam, avivekat pura bhav, that pura, that pa has to be pu. Pura means before. Before you do the vichara, avivekat pura bhavam. Before you do the viveka, avivekat, pura means pahale, avivekat, due to aviveka, pura, bhavam means the existence, yatha, buddhi rabhai tatha. There was a thought of all the three states. Buddhi, the Jivatma thinks that I am the knower of the three states. But it is not the Jivatma that is the knower of the three states. It is the Paramatma that is the illuminer and the knower of the three states. Vivekatu parat, vivek ke baad, anyaha na vidyate. Anyaha, the other is not there. Swayam chapi, even the thought is not there. Swayam is not there, thought is not there. Nothing is there. Like in sleep, the thought is not there and the other is not there. The other is not there. Anya swayam chapi na vidyate. Anyaha means the other. Swayam chapi means the buddhi also not there. Buddhi is not there means Jivatma is not there. Because the Jivatma is none other than the thought that I am the body. That thought is what is called Jivatma. And therefore, when the thought dies, when the man dies, that thought also dies. And when the thought dies, it is the Paramatma, it is the Atma, which it again takes Dehi Nityam. Dehi takes another Deha and continues to be alive. And therefore continues to be another Jiva. Not this Jiva. This body is gone. And Brihadaranyaka Upanishad says, Nam Nishan nahi hoga. There is no Nam Nishan. There is no Nam. There is nothing. When the thought is gone, when the thought is gone, when the memory is gone, when the body is gone, everything is gone. And therefore this individual is gone. This individuality is gone. But the Paramatma's quality, Paramatma being subject to look like a jiva is not gone. And the subject to look like a jiva is there as long as adhyasa is not corrected. Paramatma being subject to become another jiva is not gone. And therefore Paramatma looks like another jiva, another form, another thought, another memory, another perception. And therefore vivekatu parat, after discerning, the other is not there. Because when you are the Bhagavan Shankaracharya says he says, Pratas Marami Hridi Samsprad Atma Tattvam Sachit Sukham Paramahamsa Gatim Turiyam Yat Swapna Jagara Sushupti Mavaiti Nityam Tad Brahma Nishkalamaham Nacha Bhuta Sangaha, he says. In the morning I am remembering the Atma, which is indeed the topic of all the Paramahamsa sannyasis, and which is the knower of all the three states, and that Brahman I am. And the one who knows all the three states is me, and that is me, and that is Brahman, and I am not Bhuta Sangaha, I am not this body. This manner Shankaracharya says. And therefore, when you transcend this body, When you transcend the thought and the memory, and you have transcended the body also, you have transcended the creation. In the deep sleep state, there is no thought. There is you don't say there may be a very, very, very minute thought. They say thought. There are no thoughts cannot be continued, cannot be described as minute or otherwise. Thought is a thought. Thought pertains to some object, and that is there only in the waking state. And in the dream state, there is only perception. Just as the dream is a perception, the waking also is a perception, because there is no difference between the dream and the waking. And therefore, in the deep sleep state, you have transcended the thought and the body and the memory, and therefore there is no other, and there is no thought also. And therefore, and the one who illumines, and therefore Sushupti is not is known to you. Sushupti is experienced by you, not by any memory, not by any thought. Experience is independent of thought, please. Experience is your anubhava swarupam. Your anubhava swarupam. It is independent of thought. Experience is independent of thought. Whereas uh, perception is a thought. Experience is independent of thought. When you experience the deep sleep state, there is no thought. And when you wake up, you remember, you recall the deep sleep state. I was peaceful. Similarly, the dream also, you remember, you recall the dream also. But the dream is not illumined by the physical light. The deep sleep state is not illumined by the physical light, but and therefore the consciousness alone is a swayam jyotihi. You are the consciousness, and that consciousness illumines, conscious light illumines the dream, as well as you know the waking, you know the dream, you know the sleep also, independent of any pramana, independent of any physical light. Even the waking, in the waking state, you know the physical light, the waking physical light, as well as the illumined by the physical light, the world, the objects, the colors, and the illuminer of the colors, the physical light also, the sunlight also, and but then the one who knows the sunlight is not known by any other faculty. And therefore all the three stages, yat swapna jagara sushuptim avaiti nityam. Nityam, always. The one who remembers, the one who knows all the three states, he is Brahman, and that Brahman am I, and I am not the body. In this manner, Bhagavan Shankaracharya says. And therefore, when there is no avivekat pura bhavam, yatha buddhir avait tatha. Before the viveka is done, what is thought is only the buddhi thinks. The thought, there is a distorted knowledge that the buddhi is the illuminer of all the three states, but the buddhi is not the illuminer of all the three states. The conscious, the Paramatma is the illuminer of all the three states. Vivekatu parat, after viveka, after thinking, reflection, anyaha na vidyate, anyaha na vidyate, swayamapicha na vidyate. There is no thought, there is no other after the viveka. And then before the viveka, the thought thinks, the intellect thinks that I am the knower of all the three states. And therefore, Jivatma is not the knower of all the three states. It is the Paramatma that is the knower of all the three states. Paramatma is Brahman is the knower of all the three states. And therefore, when you think also, when you look at the three states also, your three states, don't say that my intellect is knowing it. Don't say that. Say, I am knowing it. The Brahman is knowing it. It is the being that is knowing it. And the dream is not the dream maybe the dream is full of thoughts, all right, perceptions, all right. The dream itself is a perception, waking is a perception, and the deep sleep state is a non-perception. The non-perception also is known by us. Otherwise, how do you know that there is a non-perception? It is experienced, and that experience is not a thought. That experience is not a thought, please. The experiencing that the deep sleep state is not a thought, is not entertained by you. When you remember, when you recall it, it is a thought. But when it is experienced, it is not a thought. It is experienced, and therefore it is not a thought. And therefore it is Brahmanti. And therefore, here it is said, Vivekat Parat, and in the deep sleep state, you don't remember anyone, you don't miss anyone, you don't remember anyone. You don't miss the thought, you don't remember the thought. You don't miss the pleasure, you don't remember the pleasure. There is no memory, there is no thought. And therefore, when you have transcended the thought and memory, you have transcended the whole adhyasa. You have transcended, not corrected, please. You have transcended. And therefore, I say the deep sleep state is a state of being a non. It is a state that is a proof of the non-duality, non-dualness of the truth, non-dualness of your being. Deep sleep state is it proves that there is no division at all, there is no other at all, that it is a state of it is a state that proves that the self is non-dual, and the waking is a perception, the dream is it looks like a dvaitam, the waking looks like a dvaitam before the viveka, but once you do the viveka, then there is no division in the waking also, because there is no gap between the gap and the waking and the conscious and the drashta, because the gap, you say the gap also is a spatial gap, that spatial gap, that's between the spatial gap and the seer of the gap, there is no gap, and therefore everything is non-separate from the drashta. When everything is non-separate from the drashta is non-dual, please, and therefore that is called ananyatvam. Ananyatvam, na anyatvam. It's not something separate from. Ananyatvam means it is not something separate from the drashta. The objects are not separate from drashta, the seer of them. The sound is not separate from the hearer of it. The taste is not different from the taster of it, the conscious being. Similarly, all the five perceptions are not different from the Paramatma, the Brahma. And therefore, Paradanya Swayam Chapina Vidyate. And when you transcend the thought and the memory, the thought is not there. The transcendence is not, when you are freedom from the thought and memory is not another thought, please. There is a freedom from the object is not another object. Freedom from the object is something, it is your presence free from the object. It is your presence. And therefore, deep sleep state is your presence free from the thought. Deep sleep state is a state free from the object. It is your presence free from the objects. It is your presence free from the objects. Deep sleep state, it is your non-dual presence free from the objects. And in the next chapter, Mati Vilapana Prakaranam. The next prakaranam is called Mati Vilapana Prakaranam. Mati Vilapana means the mind is crying. Vilapana means the mind. You talk to the mind. Mati Vilapana Prakaranam. It is a section in which you talk to the thought. You talk to the mind. You talk to the mind. What do you talk to the mind? It is given in every verse. Chitiswarupe Swataha. In me, the conscious. Chitiswarupe Swatayeva me mate. Rasadi yogas tapamoha karitah. Chitiswarupe Swataha. I am by nature, not by choice. I am by nature conscious being, please. I am not by choice conscious being. I am choicelessly a conscious being. I am a choiceless conscious being. Chiti Swarupe, Swataha. It is self-evidently I am a conscious being. For consciousness need not be illumined by anything. Consciousness is self-evident. A conscious being is self-evident, please. Consciousness is not illumined by physical light. Consciousness is not illumined by anything in this world. It is not Pramana Siddham, it is Swataha Siddham. It is Swataha, Swata Siddham. It is self-existent and it is self-evident. And therefore, like the deep sleep state, it is self-evident. Your existence is self-evident. And therefore, you don't have to experience your existence. It is already experienced, and you have to only recognize that it is already within my experience. It is already in my experience. It is already, I am Anubhava Swarupa. It is already experienced. And that my existence is a matter of experience is known to me. And that is called a knowledge, please. Registering the experience is what is called a knowledge. Recognizing that it is Anubhava is called a knowledge. Recognizing that your existence is Anubhava is called a knowledge. And therefore, Chitiswarupe Swataha. Swataha Swatasiddhe. Chitiswarupe Swatasiddhe. Eva, Eva, indeed, me mate. Hey mate means, oh mind. In me, me mate. In me, the consciousness which is self-evident, which is self-existent. Rasadi yoga. I went through a lot of pleasures. Hey, oh my mind, I went through a lot of pleasures. Rasadi yoga. I enjoyed the taste, I enjoyed the touch, I enjoyed the smell, I enjoyed all these things. Rasadi yoga. Rasadi means, rasa means taste, etc. Yoga means association. I had the association with pleasures. Tava, mohakaritaha. It is due to your moha. Mohakaritaha means because you did the moha to me. You did the magic in me. Because of adhyasa. And adhyasa is in the form of thought. Is a distorted thought is what is called thought. A thought is none other than a distortion of the truth, please. Otherwise, there is no thought. Thought is not something that is independent of being distortion of the thought, distortion of the truth. No, no, no. Only the distortion of the truth is called the thought. Only distortion of the thought, distortion of the truth. Ataha, therefore, na kinchit tava cheshtitena me phalam. And therefore, ato न किंचित तव चेष्टितेन मे फलं भवेत् सर्व विशेषः नतः atah therefore na kinchit, there is nothing tava cheshtitena, by your presence or absence, or by your doings. You may bring me a pleasure, you may bring me a pain, but nothing can affect me. Why? Because I have done the vichara. Cheshtitena me phalam. You may bring a pleasure, it is not going to increase my dimension because I am free from dimension. What is free from dimension cannot be increased or decreased. And there me phalam, may to me, it is not going to add to me, it is not going to add it to my infinitude. Atha na kinchit tava cheshtitena me phalam bhavet. Me phalam bhavet. It is not going to be any useful to me. Bhavet. Sarva Vishesha Hanataha. Because I am free from all adjectives. I am free from all Visheshanas. When I am free from Visheshanas, I am Nirvishesham. And the Nirvishesham cannot be affected by, Nirvishesham cannot be affected by a thought. Nirvishesham, it does not allow you can't entertain a thought about the Nirvishesham because there has to be some Vishesha for me to think of it. I can think of a tree because it has adjectives. I can think of a blue lotus because it has adjectives. I can think of so many things because they have adjectives, but I can't think of Nirvisesham. Nirviseshata is free from all adjectives. Nirvisesham is me free from all adjectives. And therefore, a thought is not possible in Nirvisesham in me. A pleasure is not possible in me. In Nirvisesham, it is not possible. And in order to make it possible, I have to look like a jiva. I have to take myself to be the deha. I have to look like a jiva. As a jiva, I can enjoy pleasures. I can have association with pleasures. And I am not, now I have understood after doing Viveka, I am not Deha. If I am not Deha, I am not Jiva also. I'm Brahman. And therefore, oh thought, you are not going to add anything to my dimension. You're not going to add anything to my nature. You're not going to add anything to my unnegatability. You are not going to add anything to my Ananda, Ananda Swarupam. And therefore, thought, oh my thought, you better be quiet. You better be quiet. In this manner, the truth itself talks to the thought, the mind, because it is only the thought that creates a problem. It is a wrong thought. Like you can't have a snake thought unless it is a distortion of the rope. You can have the thoughts about the rope, all right, because the rope also it has adjectives, and therefore you can think of the rope, but but in the example, as an example, we have to say that the snake thought is also a distortion of the rope. In the same manner, the whole universe is a distorted thought about the truth, and the thought itself is not possible unless it is a distortion of the truth. It's a very important definition, G. Thought itself is defined by me. What is a thought? A distortion of the truth is called a thought. and that distortion of the truth is called the thought. Distortion means distorted perception, distorted thinking, distorted thought. Distortion is different from change, please. It cannot, the rope cannot change and become snake. The Brahman cannot change and become the Deha. And therefore, it is a distortion. It is a distortion, distorted thought, distorted perception. When is it distorted? When is it distorted? There is no particular time. You can't trace it to time, because presupposing the distortion, I find myself distorting. I find myself with the distortion. That is because I don't discern between me and what is not me, and what I don't discern because between me and what is not me, and therefore there is adhyasa, and that adhyasa cannot be traced to time, particular second. At this second it happened. It never happened. It is there. It never happened. It is there. It is there. Like illiteracy doesn't happen. Illiteracy is there. When illiteracy, you are born with, you find yourself with illiterate. You find yourself illiterate, and then you go to school, slowly remove it. And in the same manner, here also, one finds oneself with self-ignorance and self-error, and then slowly he has to think about his himself. He has to think about the Vedanta. Vedanta happens to show the Prama. Vedanta is a Prama. Vedanta also, Upanishad, Vedanto Nam Upanishad Pramanam. It is said Vedanta, otherwise called Upanishad, is Pramanam. Pramanam means here, it is not something that is not, it is not Pramana Siddham. The truth is not Pramana Siddham. Vedanta is a Pramanam as a pointer, as an arrow, as a pointer to the truth. Like the Vedanta is not a part of the truth, please. Vedanta is a pointer of the truth. He is a teacher, is a teacher of the truth. It teaches what is the nature of the truth. And therefore, Adhyaropa Apavadabhyam Nishprapancham Prapanchate. It is said, Adhyaropa Drishti, in relation to something, in relation to the creation, the truth is called the Srishtikarta, Sthitikarta, Layakarta. And from his own point of view, from Swarupa Drishti, he is Nirvisesham. From Swarupa Drishti, it is Nirvisesham. That is why it is always said, Neti, Neti, Neti. Nayadam, 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 Nayadam. The truth has to be understood as not this, as not this, as not this, as free from this, as free from the body, free from the senses, free from the mind, free from the intellect, etc., free from the memory, etc. And and the nirvisesham, and it is the nirvisesham that is looked upon, that is taught by the Shastra as Srishtikarta, Sthitikarta, Layakarta, and that is called Prakriya. And the Prakriya doesn't qualify the truth. Prakriya doesn't qualify the truth. Prakriya may be taught by the Shruti. Shruti doesn't qualify the truth. The truth is there even independent of Shruti, independent of Prakriya. But in order to know the truth, I go to the, not in order to be the truth, in order to know that I am the truth, I am not the Deha, I have to go to the, I go to the Vedanta, which is Upanishads. And therefore, it is called Vedanto Nam Upanishad Pramanamiti. And therefore, Vedanta is a Pramanam not because it teaches the existence of the truth, it teaches the nature of the truth. It is, it teaches it only points out the nature of the truth. It doesn't teach the existence. Existence is there even before you go to Vedanta. You are very, very much there. As it is independent of ignorance and knowledge, please. And therefore, presupposing the ignorance, there is knowledge. And when there is no ignorance, there is no knowledge also. The truth alone is there, minus the error. And that is exactly what man wants. He wants to be the truth, he wants to be happy, he wants to be peaceful without the error about it. And that is what is pointed out by the Upanishads. And the more of it we will see in the next class. Purnamadaha Purnamida Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you very much. And Mishraji, thank you very much for the cap. And this cap is very warm, Ji. Thank you very much. Thanks everybody. Thanks everybody. And you are all listening. And please listen to Vedanta and think about it. And when you think about it, when you do, when the three states are not experienced by some nova, The three states are experienced by you. That you has to come. That Tvam has to come. That you are the knower of the three states. As the knower of the three states, you are Brahman, please. Thank you very much. क्या हुआ? It's not going.